Ahoy there, I'm Tiny Pirate and welcome to a little Rust build video. I wanted to show you a base that I've been working on, well the design I've been working on for a little while, and I think it's really interesting. It's a really useful base for small groups because it grows with your group and it grows with your resources and it starts off nice and cheap. Currently you're looking at about 50,000 worth of stone and a bit of metal and other bits and bobs, but the starter base is worth only 4,000 stone and 1,400 wood, and that base grows to this. So let's just have a little quick look around inside this thing and you can see how it works. So the point of this base really is to be a useful base for a small group that wants to have lots of room to grow and wants to have a reasonably secure loot room. So this loot room is typically 3 walls to here at least. And if you want to spend more stone on it, you can increase that to just about as much as you want. The other great thing is I've got the tool cupboard accessible behind a door here. Kind of tricky to get to it right now. But if you needed to get to it right up until you want to place your higher tier workbench, because these things are so blooming expensive to move, and difficult to chop down, then it's there available for you. And I think this is going to be very helpful in the future patches of the game, when there's going to be things like resources to worry about and maintenance of your base, and you may have to get access to your tool cupboard. There are about 7 doors all the way to the exit, and I've not really been raided with this design except by people who had rockets after the first week or so, and that just reflects how many doors that there exist to get through and how many walls. Second floor, you got lots of room up here to do what you want with. Set up little rooms for people who are individually staying with you perhaps. You could set up smelting rooms, whatever you want. Second floor is probably not as secure as the third floor, or sorry, as the first floor, but it's not too bad. Third floor, you could set this up as a shooting floor. If you can avoid doing that and you want to go straight to a 4th floor, I would probably just do that because people can maybe get through these bars, blow them down, whatever, climb into your base. But it's not too bad like that. I haven't had anyone try that yet. And up on the top floor, I've stopped building at this point in this video, but you could obviously do anything you want here. You could go for, roof slopes that are facing out. You could go for another whole floor, maybe more security so that people have a harder time blowing through. Or you could just leave it as is. Likewise, around the edges, once you've got this far, if you really want to add to the strength of the base, it's really easy just to go around when you got the resources and just throw in more foundations and to get more walls going up. And once you start doing that, pretty quickly the base is 4 or 5 walls all the way to the core. Of course you want to add floors on top, otherwise people will realize that the best way to go through is through the top. But it's very easy to work on. If you find that you want to have things like shop fronts or other kinds of fun games out the front, again, it's very easy just to throw on bits and bobs at the front here to put in a shop front perhaps, or a vending window and another door out. And after that, simply throw on your walls all the way up and you've got a pretty nice and secure base. Of course, upgrading everything to stone. One thing I haven't done in this video is upgrade everything to metal all the way around the base and on the inside. Where you expect that doors may be being picked, like here, that wall there, you do want to definitely upgrade that one to sheet metal to discourage people from picking through, because sheet metal doesn't have a soft side. And that's generally quite helpful. Likewise, all your floors and ceilings. Eventually, you're going to want to go around, especially in your loot room, and you're going to want to make sure that all of the floors and ceilings in there are metal or even armored, because otherwise you are a few rockets from having your roof blown in and someone is down into here. But at least even if they do get down into here, they still usually have to worry about all these extra doors and walls, and to get all your loot, they're going to have to blow down all of the doors. Anyway, I'm going to show you now how I get this thing built. You should sort of probably imagine some awesome time-lapsing music or sound or something. But no, let's just crack on and get this one done. So first of all, grab your building plan. You're going to want to put down 2 square foundations. Now I'm not taking advantage of any of the build system 3.0 tricks here. This is really simple and straightforward. so you can do it quickly in the middle of the night with your resources and your heart pounding, ready to get going, nice and secure. So you want to put down 2 squares, and you want to be kind of, the behind you is where you want to put your door. 2 squares, and then 1, 2, 3, triangle over here, triangle over here. At this point you want 1, 2, 3 walls. You want to go walls all the way around, and then your first airlock here to the left. Once you've got this part down and you're perhaps ready to do all the upgrades, it might be a good idea if you have your code lock or your key lock to get that on now, because you want to make sure that even if you die with all your resources, this little corner of the world is yours, safe and secure. So these 3 walls here, all of them need to be wood. So you're going to hack these out eventually, but for now they can just be wood. And these ones here, you can just upgrade to stone as you see fit. Probably don't even need to upgrade all of them because the walls will hold up, but it's generally a good idea to get that done pretty promptly. And then just get your ceilings on, and then you're ready for stage 2. At this point, you've got your walls, ceiling all completed. You may have metal doors and code locks on everything, or you've just got key locks and you're ready to put down your furnace. Just chuck this down where you're ready. Choose perhaps one side to start with, and you can work in here, put down a nice sleeping bag, and be quite safe and secure for a period. But what you're going to want to do pretty soon is work on the outside of your base. So let's have a look at what you're going to want to do first. The first thing you need to look at is adding a square onto all of these outside walls. You can do these one at a time. Say we're deciding that this is going to be our first loot room. Just come in and sort one of these rooms out with stone. It's generally a good idea to get onto it with all of them because you don't want anyone coming in and flame throwing down your walls. But if you have to, just start with one. Once you've got that, get back inside your base, and with something like a sword, it's really easy to chop down these walls. A sword or a tool will easily do it, but if you don't have one, just smash it down with whatever you've got to hand, even a bone knife. Bone knives are really effective at it. If you can, if you're very lucky, you will have shelves if you've found them, and you can chuck a shelf in and then simply set up your loot room how you would any nice compact loot room. Get your boxes right to the back. I would try and do this before you put a door frame on. If you get a double door in a loot somewhere, then you're really lucky. All you need to do at that point is you can just go straight to putting your frame up, get that upgraded, and as soon as you can, get that thing upgraded to sheet metal, or maybe even armored if you plan to be around for a while. But you can just go in here and chuck the old double doors on. If you don't have double doors, then you do want to try and get this job done before you put your walls on. So you get that in. Just going to take that off for now, and then it's simply time to chuck the wonderful furnaces in. If you've got your boxes suitably far back, you should be able to do this job without causing any kind of conflict with the doors that you may want to place. The worst comes to the worst is you set up a loot room and you don't have any shelves, which was me the other day for about a whole week of no shelves on one wipe. Very annoying. Just simply get your couple of boxes in, and you're just going to have to put up with it for a while. It will slightly annoy you, but you do have space upstairs. And then if you haven't got the double doors either, you're just going to have to rely on small normal doors, which is perfectly fine. Get your furnace in, and then make sure you can get your wall frame in before you put in the second furnace. And now you've got still a reasonable amount of room and lots of opportunity to grow that in due course. Pick everything up if you need to, and then work on making that nice and secure. One thing I do recommend is make sure you get this, if it's a door frame, up to sheet metal. If someone blows through the back, you don't want an easy access to the rest of your base just by picking down that wall. Third room, pretty obvious from this point. Get the nice foundation and walls on the outside, complete it, and then you have all 3 of your loot rooms completed. It's not uncommon, I've found, when building this style of base to not actually need the loot room right at the start. It's nice to have, but if you get shelves, then you can be pretty secure with 2 of them. It is still a good idea to get this outer shell up, even if you haven't bothered to cut down the inside wall yet, just so that no one has a really easy time accessing the rest of your base. From here, it's time to add more doors, and more doors early on is an absolutely awesome deterrent. So you go triangle, square, and as you can afford it, triangle, 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 square, and then a triangle. So you don't have to do all of these all at once. You just add doors as you can afford them. And I find it's a fantastic deterrent, and you'll get no one hopefully raiding you for quite a while. Eventually you're going to have doors that go all the way around. You can complete them all at once, or even just do them in a phase like this so that it looks quite intimidating for anyone coming through. Or anyone outside will hear you banging around and hear doors opening and closing and be less inclined to try and attack. You do want to have a door here because this space is going to be left open. You want to be able to use this to build up. Everything else needs to be nice and neatly walled off. When you're ready to work on your second floor, you may have 2 or 3 doors set up like this, or doorways and door frames set up all the way along, which is how I like to build. You come through and make sure this door's facing out. Put a small or a large box. The large ones are a little easier. Jump on the door and you're up. Before you really work on the second floor, what I would do is make sure to come around and fill in these gaps just to kind of add or a sort of layer to make your base look a little bigger and a little bit more robust than perhaps it really is. You don't want people looking at your base and seeing where the really obvious loot is. At this point your base is pretty tough. The only problem is that we're still only 1 wall away from the loot in these locations, and if someone's watched this video they may know that and see a chance for some easy loot. Coming through from the sides or from directly above, people have to get through at least this floor and then into one of the rooms with doors on, which is a pain, or they have to blow through these doors here and walls. So anything from this angle is a pain for a raider. From the back though, they still have bit-free access. So my recommendation is to go around most of the base. You can go around all of it if you want, but to go around at least the loot rooms, so remember where they are, and put down triangles so that people can't easily just make it through one wall. If you put down only triangles where you've got a loot room, I figure someone might actually decide they know where your loot room is and start trying to go for it. So I like to put triangles in the gaps as well. And then you just wall all the way up, at least 1 floor, and then you're pretty much ready to start working on the second floor. As you work on your outside, it's probably a good idea to finish off on the inside as well, and for that I would simply throw down a door frame and what have you here, and you can be pretty content that your base is relatively secure at this point. No one's going to easily be able to access and use your tool cupboard, especially with a code lock on it. And you've got a bit of room, because having a bit of room is nice. And the lack of room in some bases drives people I play with a little batty, to be honest. I love them because they're efficient. I love efficient designs. But other people, they get very annoyed when I try and build them. They want a bit of space to breathe. So this will hopefully give that to you. As you get your first workbench and your first research table, or your first and hopefully only research table, they're very easy to slot in over here. And in the time when you get your second level workbench, you can chop this one down and put the second one in here. The third one will fit quite nicely over here, and I find that the second level one is so expensive to put or to chop up. It took me a blooming while when I tried. I gave up, and instead I just put a third bench in. So you can kind of snug that right in close to your equipment here. And that's really handy if you want to do some work while you're accessing your inventory. I still have access right close into this space here. At this point, the outside of your base is probably looking something like this. If you're very resource rich, maybe fill in those nice little teethed gaps with squares and build walls up. If you're not too rich, it's okay to just go ahead and work on level 2. So for me, I just kind of throw walls all the way around the outside, and then I have a little think about what I'm going to do with the insides. These walls on the inside here are definitely ones that I would want to make sure are upgraded to sheet metal relatively promptly. You don't want someone coming from the top and picking their way in, or someone from the bottom picking their way up. So just get these ones up to sheet metal, and make sure perhaps your outside corner foundations are sheet metal as well. From here, I like to throw in the ceilings everywhere, except usually this back square here, which is where I want to have my access up to the next floor. Everything else can be either walled off if you want a ton of honeycomb, or just a little bit walled off if you only want a little bit of honeycomb. The options are really up to you, and there's quite a few different ways you can configure this floor, depending on really how you feel about the threat on your server. I like to make at least a couple of sort of useful rooms off to one side. So something like this can be very helpful to ensure. I'll just pull up so you can see. something like this can be very helpful just to ensure that you get a little bit of space to operate in. With the ceilings on, your second floor looks something like this. And again, this one really should be sheet metal all the way around just to protect the rest of your base from people coming through the top. But this way you have a bit of room off to each side. Can be used for storage or for setting up furnace rooms. You've got quite a bit of room around here for individual bedrooms if you want, or some kind of gear up room. As long as you don't perhaps put anything too valuable in here, because people can fairly simply blow down through the top. You've also got a bit of room here to set up trap rooms if you want, by perhaps putting in a wall and a door here and setting up traps on the other side of other side of these doors here. Shotgun trap here, catch people coming up or trying to go down, works quite well. In this facility, or this corner of your base, pretty obvious here you want to have a door jump like the other ones to get you up to the third floor. You got quite a lot of options on the third floor. If you're resource rich, now might be the time to bring the rest of the floors up so that you can build a really large shooting floor. Alternately, just go around and fill in with floors like this and then come up with the rest of your floor at a later date. Because if you do want to put windows on this floor, then being able to have them right at the edge rather than blocked by other pieces of your base is probably genuinely a good idea. So once you've gone around and added in all those pieces, however you like to do it really, it is up to you. Just come around and start putting in the windows that you think you need, or if you like those little door peeking spaces, do some of those. Always quite good when you've got them near your front like this. You can peek out easily and look down very easily at your front door. So however you like to configure these, just go ahead and do that. There's really no hard and fast way, and I change every time I play, depending on the resources and how much I've managed to, mine or steal off someone else. Only point I would make about this floor is you want to choose one of these squares to be the floor or the level at which you go up to the next floor. And of course you want to be able to upgrade that to sheet metal. And with that upgraded, you can do another door jump to get you up to the the fourth floor here. 4 floors is generally a pretty good number to go through because that will discourage people from just doing a rocket attack from the top. You can keep going up in this fashion and setting up floors how you like. And I find that to be pretty effective. It is a good discouragement for raiders to see so many stacked floors and to see what are clearly so many external foundations that are blocking the way to get to the actual loot. If your base hasn't been raided at this point, and I'd be surprised if many people would bother going through 7 doors, they're probably going to try and use rockets and blow through from the top or maybe from the outside. If it hasn't been raided yet, it's time just to enjoy your life and to, throw down some wonderful defenses and to just generally relax in hopefully a pretty secure base. I would consider definitely going around and making sure you complete all the upgrades just to add more layers, even if that means that you have to basically give up on the 3rd floor being your defensive floor just by filling and covering up these windows with walls. Maybe you'd move the defensive floor up to the 5th or 6th floor, whatever it is you fancy. But don't be afraid of giving up on these windows. I do worry about them. These wooden frames are not exactly super strong, so it isn't probably a bad idea just to cover the whole thing up in due course. Anyway, that's just my little small group base. I've found it really fun to use and to build with. It's got lots of room. It's got the nice ability to expand from a nice cheap base, and you can really customize it and adapt its growth to just how you want it to be. So if you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments below. Probably do a couple more of these sorts of videos in due course. Quite enjoy building in Rust. Until next time, I've been Tiny Pirate. Thanks for watching. Good night.